Which one you think we gonna get? Teofimo Lopez. Ain't got no power. 140 ain't knocked nobody out. He going to 47, jumping up 7 pounds. I done it. It's different. Rolly thumping.
However, if you take a good shot and you're tough and you're in condition and you do certain basic things and you have heavy hands and you're unconventional, so the shots are coming in from awkward angles, Gabe, that's kind of a dangerous fight for anyone to take.
Absolutely.
Teofimo Lopez being the two-time lineal champion, being the overall quicker, better fighter, you would say, throughout their career, definitely throughout their careers, is the favorite.
With Teofimo Lopez stepping up to challenge Rolly Romero, boxing insiders have made their final picks. Whether Teofimo's elite skill and ring IQ prove too much, or Rolly's explosive power delivers another statement victory. Kicking things off, Timothy Bradley sets the stage, noting Lopez enters after a defeat, while Romero returns following a 15-month layoff, leaving plenty of unknowns heading into fight night.
Let's talk about Rolly and Teofimo Lopez. 147. Look, I'm gonna give you some of my thoughts, okay? This is the way I think. Teo, coming off a loss, getting a title shot. Yeah. It's boxing. It's boxing. Rolly Romero. Shit, hasn't fought since what, May? 2025? We in 2026, ain't we?
From there, Bradley shifts into breaking down what version of Romero might actually walk through the ropes. The patient, calculating boxer who traded rounds with Ryan Garcia, or a more aggressive, front-footed version, will emerge instead. It's the central puzzle Bradley keeps circling back to. It's more than a clash of styles. It's what could ultimately decide the outcome.
What Rolly gonna show up? What Rolly do you guys think needs to show up? Do you need the more calculated Rolly, the one that fought against Ryan Garcia? You know, the one that's kind of straddles himself down and he look like he gonna attack you. He might jab you here. A very awkward boxing style counterpuncher. Or do we need the Rolly that's gonna bring it to Teo?
Turning his attention to the corner, Bradley raises a pointed question about who exactly is guiding Lopez these days, and whether fresh input has been brought in following the tough lessons learned opposite Shakur Stevenson. That kind of outing, Bradley notes, tends to send fighters back to the drawing board on their entire technical setup.
Who's training Teo? I'm seeing some wrestling between, the father, I don't know how true that is. I'm pretty sure his father's gonna be in his corner, but is he gonna add anybody new? Especially after the Shakur fight, because when you fight Shakur Stevenson, most guys, what they do is they reevaluate their entire career, not only their career, but they reevaluate their life, because the boxing and technical ability of Shakur just makes everybody just go, what just happened? That was different. He didn't do nothing but just use this jab the whole time. And footwork.
Digging deeper into what makes Romero so hard to prepare for, Max Kellerman pushes back against the doubters, pointing to rough technical edges, sure, but he stresses that his power and off-rhythm angles create real problems for anyone sharing the ring with Teofimo.
He'd be saying something unflattering about Rolly. But the bottom line is, as we saw against Ryan Garcia, Rolly is unconventional and has heavy hands. And I get why some people are less than blown away by him, because he has a kind of, at best, basic style. That's when he's fighting well, I think. Oh, he's doing kind of basic things well. And when it doesn't look as good, it's kind of an awkward, ugly style.
On the other side of the debate comes a bold prediction, with Gabe Rosado favoring an upset outright. The reasoning centers on Lopez's own tendency. If he strays from the basics again and leans too heavily on raw athletic tools the way he did against Shakur Stevenson, the case is that Romero is built to capitalize.
Absolutely, man, and he's a big puncher. It's a dangerous fight for Teo. I favor Rolly by a little bit, to be honest with you.
Hold on, what? Say that again?
Yeah, I do. I favor Rolly by a little bit.
Turn to the camera. You favor Rolly Romero?
Yes, I do.
To beat Teofimo Lopez?
And I'm a fan of both fighters. Both fighters are great, but...
Do you understand what seat you're sitting in, by the way?
Listen,
I'm
favoring
This is Malik Scott's seat, by the way, normally.
Yeah.
And Malik Scott I don't think it's him, actually. I think it's the
chair,
seat.
yeah.
That's my Philly bro. That's my Philly bro.
Yeah, maybe it's a Philly thing.
Rounding out the discussion, the conversation turns to Romero's jump up to welterweight against Ryan Garcia, with them noting how much sharper and more physically dominant he appeared at that limit. The suggestion on the table, the added weight might have brought out a more complete fighter altogether.
What I see is I get where Gabe is going because Rolly's had one fight at 147 now, and in that fight against Ryan Garcia, I was ringside on the call, and the first thing that stood out to me was, wow, Rolly looks good at 147. He had big legs, he filled out very well, and a lot of fighters, as you know, Gabe, are fighting at the wrong weight.
Yeah.
And I think when Rolly gets downgraded, Max, and maybe he gets underrated, is because he looks bad against Pitbull. Pitbull beat him up and stopped him at 140, and he also did not look good against Ismael Barroso. That was a very controversial stoppage, and he was getting beat up in that fight. So maybe he's a new fighter now, maybe the weight, maybe it's something, but we're gonna find out in this fight which one it is.
Adding another layer to the build-up, it gets complicated by history. These two go back to 2015 as close friends. Showbiz the adult touches on how strange it must feel watching people who were once inseparable now squaring off, framing it as a test of whether competitive drive can coexist with genuine loyalty.
First of all, them two, they were boys, all right? Or they are boys, really. And like Teofimo Lopez said, they trying to set an example.
Yeah, you know, me and Rolly, we go back since 2015.
That was my question. My question is, y'all were like thick as thieves. Y'all like best of friends. And y'all gonna fight each other.
Sometimes you gotta lead by example. Am I right?
And I feel that. I do. I feel that because they're kind of taking shots subliminally to Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis for saying their brothers are not going to fight each other.
Wrapping up his breakdown, Showbiz admits he's torn on what to call this one. He credits Lopez with an elite level of ring intelligence, the kind that lets him read situations others can't, but he's equally quick to point out Romero's underrated instincts and his track record of pulling through when doubted, predicting he'll scrap relentlessly to hold on to his title.
If you go and look at a sparring session they had from 5 or 6 years ago, Lopez was tagging Rolly Romero. He was hurting him to the body. He was too quick for him, too creative for him. But I would point out to not just leap to that conclusion right away that Lopez will win this fight, because that sparring session came when they were lightweights and now they are welterweights.
Setting up the breakdown, Sean Zittel acknowledges Lopez's pedigree, a two-time lineal champion with a clear edge in hand speed, and the fighter who's backed by sparring history that tilted heavily in his favor. But they're quick to note that those sessions happened back at lightweight, and the jump to 147 changes the entire equation.
Jump up to 147 is more beneficial for Rolly Romero, who is the naturally bigger guy, and he is the bigger puncher than Teofimo Lopez. Just more bone density in him, something Jim Lampley kept pointing out in his fight with Ryan Garcia last May. So I think them fighting at 147 as opposed to 135 back in the day, this favors Rolly Romero, the bigger man and the bigger puncher. Also, back then in that sparring session, Teofimo was undefeated. He had all his gusto and confidence and the wind at his back.
Shifting the lens to physicality, the conversation turns toward how the move up favors Romero, who carries the frame, and the pop of a natural welterweight. Compounding that, Lopez's recent opponents have shown a knack for solving his usual tricks, raising real doubts about how bulletproof his past accomplishments actually make him here.
I don't know a more unusual type of perspective than you can get from this combination of fighters. I can't, and when I say Ortiz and Mayweather, I'm not even talking about Mayweather, although he was a strange bird as well, especially in that fight. But really, I'm talking about Ortiz, right? I'm trying to think of a time when we had two guys that were like that. I can't think of it.
Zooming out to the mental side of things, both fighters are painted as wired a little differently than most. As for the fight itself, Romero is leaning into a stripped down and patient game plan, settling comfortably into the gatekeeper role and feeding off the pressure resting on his opponent's shoulders.
I don't know a more unusual type of perspective than you can get from this combination of fighters. I can't, and when I say Ortiz and Mayweather, I'm not even talking about Mayweather, although he was a strange bird as well, especially in that fight. But really, I'm talking about Ortiz, right? I'm trying to think of a time when we had two guys that were like that. I can't think of it.
Weighing in with his own take, Gary Russell Jr. sets expectations high for this one, predicting a genuinely entertaining showdown that delivers drama both inside the ropes and in the surrounding build-up. He adds that nights like this are exactly why fans tune in, regardless of who ends up with their hand raised.
Yeah, even when he's not in the ring, you know, he's also entertaining when he's in the ring. I think it's going to be a great fight, a great night of boxing.
Building on that, Russell circles back to the shared sparring history between the two, acknowledging it'll factor in for both men, but he's quick to point out that familiarity won't soften anyone's intentions. Both are walking in looking to win, and he's eager to see what each brings when it actually counts.
Not only on a friendly level, but they've sparred a few times. Just how does that play into a real fight?
Just the work that they've done with one another, of course, is going to help each other, you know, but may the best man win. You know, you never know what's going to happen. I do believe that both fighters are going to give it their best, give it their all, and you know what I'm saying, they coming to win on both ends. So once again, it's going to be a great night of boxing. I'm looking forward to it.
Framing the broader picture, Sean Porter suggests the timing of this bout couldn't be better, with both men in the middle of genuine growth as professionals. He points to a shared shift toward discipline and coachability that defined them earlier in their careers. Romero carrying forward the patience he showed against Ryan Garcia, Lopez expected to bring a more controlled approach.
Because both these guys are, it seems to me, like they're both relearning themselves. They're at a point where I believe they're both more moldable than they've probably been in a very long time, if ever, since childhood, you know what I mean? Or, you know, in adulthood, they're as moldable as they could possibly be. And what does that mean? That means at the end of the day, I believe both of them, like we saw with Rolly with Ryan. Rolly came to the ring with a game plan and he stayed disciplined.
Yes.
The entire fight. You know what I mean? And that was something that we respectfully hadn't truly seen from Rolly.
Porter flags the corner as a factor that could tip the scales in ways fans aren't accounting for. Romero's guidance under Salas brings a well-traveled and multi-division perspective, giving him access to game plans built for more than one kind of fight. He suggests that contrast might carry more weight than either side is letting on.
So, you know, Salas is coming with the Cuban facade, right? And I'm past the Cuban facade, right? So with Salas, I really dug in and I'm like, okay, let me find the whole lineage and, you know, the history and all that kind of stuff. This dude is well traveled.
Yes.
This dude has worked with everybody from the lowest weights to the highest weights, you know? He's truly has game plan and gotten guys to finish lines. He's a great coach. You know that Rolly's gonna be prepared. Teofimo's not the same way.
Making his case for the underdog, Hackett lays out that he's siding with Romero on fight night. He's noticed real growth in Romero's patience and decision-making inside the ring, while questioning whether Lopez's focus has drifted toward the financial upside of the sport rather than protecting what he's already built. That contrast in mindset, Hackett believes, could be the difference when the pressure starts to build in the later rounds.
When it comes to that fight, I'm picking Rolly. I like Rolly, for sure.
Yeah. I'd be surprised too how much you be tapped in while coaching. I ain't gonna lie, but you like Rolly in the fight.
Yeah.
Why?
I seen from Rolly, he's becoming better as far as his discipline. He's keeping his hands up high. His decision making is better, and I think Teofimo is right now. He's just fighting for the money. I don't think it's about legacy. I don't think it's about getting better. I think it's strictly about money now. So because it's strictly about money.
Peeling back the likely game plan, Hackett walks through how he sees the fight playing out. He anticipates Lopez working from the outside early, trying to stay clear of Romero's power, but expects Romero to eventually close that gap and take over, a shift Hackett credits to the sharper preparation and discipline. Once Romero establishes that rhythm, Lopez will struggle to keep the fight on his own terms.
He definitely going to box Rolly. There's no point in him sitting there trying to rip with Rolly. Rolly will tear his head off. But I think Rolly will catch up to him within time. Rolly, like I said, is getting better. He's working on his game, and I've seen it. And you know, I think by the time they fight, Rolly he'll be ready. Like an 8-4 Rolly.
8-4 Rolly. Oh wow. So you feel like, you know, now a lot of people are talking about this Rolly's chin. You know, they talk about the chin. Obviously, him keeping his hands nice and tight, he wasn't really able to get hit by Ryan's hook.
Turning to the man in Romero's corner, Salas doesn't hold back on his read of Lopez's current form, pointing to visible issues with his footwork and overall quickness, a decline he ties directly to the strain of moving up to 147. He goes further, suggesting the extra weight has cost Lopez the burst that once separated him from the rest of the division.
But if you can see Teo, the last fight against Shakur, I think age start to giving some problem to Teo. Even I can see, I know him very, very young. His muscle start to change. You remember, he's 140 guys moving up to 147. So already Rolly showed he's a real solid 147.
From there, Salas turns his attention to his own fighter's growth, describing a Romero who's traded power punching instincts for genuine patience and awareness, crediting a mindset now fully locked in with the coaching around him. That shift, he notes, has shown up most in how quickly Romero absorbs instruction between rounds rather than reverting to old habits.
He's more patient with you now. It seems like you've made him more into a counter
Yes,
puncher.
of course. Yes. My main point with Rolly Romero is a mindset. So it's when he really came to me, it's like a good and big office with many files, orders spread around. With me, I bring all those files together. That will be an organized office. So it's he get already mature.
Wrapping up his assessment, Salas concedes Lopez holds the technical edge on paper, but insists the deciding factor comes down to Romero's power and his command of the lead dictate the fight's tempo. It's that combination, he argues, that will ultimately wear down whatever technical advantage Lopez brings into the ring. In his view, if Romero succeeds in imposing that game plan early, the fight could quickly swing in his favor.
So you can't give too much of what the plan is. But what's going to make Rolly win this fight? What's going to make him the better fighter on August 22nd?
Explosive.
The power and the explosive?
Explosive. This is what make the big difference in this fight coming up. The explosive. As you know, if you look skill-wise, Teofimo is much better. But when you got one guy with this so explosive.
Setting the tone for the breakdown, Okoye predicts this one clearly, even framing Lopez's edge in craft and ring intelligence against Romero's genuine power threat. He's careful to note that Lopez hasn't shown the same fight-ending pop since his lightweight days, raising real questions about whether that power traveled up with him.
But I got my money on Rolly too, but I think that stylistically, Rolly not somebody that Teo can't find in the ring. He's gonna be able to hit him. So I want to break down both their styles fully. We'll do a whole in-depth breakdown on them, but I like the fight on paper right now, for sure, for both guys. That's a true 50-50 fight.
Rolly, to my knowledge, one fight at 147 pounds, defeated Ryan. I think this would be Teo's first fight. Both started at 35. Teo's clearly the more skillful guy. Clearly higher IQ.
Building on that power discussion, the host digs into what actually fuels Romero's punch, pointing to a judo background that's given him unusual grip and forearm strength, the kind that lets him hold onto his pop even after climbing a weight class. It's a trait he compares to what Terrence Crawford has shown moving up in weight himself.
Rolly got like what Crawford got. A lot of guys don't pay attention to the differences in core strength, grip strength, and so on. Like guys who wrestle, guys like Rolly used to do judo, you know what I'm saying? Like guys who wrestle and guys who do jiu-jitsu, stuff like that, they grip strength is crazy, and punching power come from your forearms. Like your grip strength in your forearm, you get more power out of that than you do out of the bicep and shoulder. So your punching power comes from that. So guys that got good grip strength, they can probably carry their power up because they stronger where it matters, where it matters or where it counts. So Rolly gonna hit hard no matter what, I think.
Rounding things out, the hosts stress just how much the opening rounds matter here, warning that Lopez needs to establish himself early or risk letting Romero dictate the terms. Left unchecked, they expect Romero to build momentum as the fight progresses, with a stoppage somewhere around the 7th or 8th round squarely in play.
I haven't seen Teofimo carry his power are not only up in weight, but late in fights. You know what I'm saying? Later in fights, he wears down. I look at him as more of a front runner type of fighter, where if he beats you and gets you down or gets you out of here, and the fight going his way for the first 6 rounds, he got you. If it's blank or he really don't open up fast, Rolly will get him out of here in 7 or 8. You know what I mean? Because eventually he's gonna start landing punches and punishing him. You know what I mean? I think he'll get him out of here in 7 or 8. So Teofimo needs to jump on Rolly early, make it a fight early, get his off early before he wears down.
Is Lopez's skill enough to outbox a version of Romero nobody's seen before? Or does that power finally catch up to him? The boxing world is split, and now it's your turn to weigh in. Drop your prediction in the comments, and if you're locked in for Fight Night, make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss the breakdown when the bell actually rings.